always try to start this meeting on time. We had a very important hearing that we had to conclude, and so that's why we're late tonight, but we're going to be starting in just a couple of minutes. Okay, we have a quorum here. We're ready to get started. 7:12. Board met in closed session this evening at 6 p.m. to discuss matters that fall under the following categories that are exceptions to the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Personnel matters, exception C1. Real estate, exception C6. Negotiations, exception C2. Legal matters, exception C11. Closed session minutes, exception C21. And personal matters, exception C1. At this point, I would like to ask for a motion to go into open session. Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Hannah. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Fabian? Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
Mr. McBride? Ms. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries. We are now in open session. Okay, next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Castellanos, would you please do the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I had to get water.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Please be seated.
I have so much warm up. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Next item is the President's Report. I just have 3 items. I just want to remind the board members that on February 18th, we are having our meeting with our IASB representative, Dr. Perry Hill, on the topic of conflict resolution. That will be here at 6 p.m. And then in April 15th, please put on your calendar that the Lake Division meeting of the Illinois Association of School Boards will be taking place from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Doubletree Hilton in Libertyville, Mundelein. And if you haven't already responded to administration, I think Mr. Alajakis put out an email to all the board members asking them to let them know whether you wanted to be registered. It was either him or was it Jasmine?
Yes.
One of you did. I think it was Jasmine,
For
right?
the division?
Right, so let Jasmine know so that we can make sure that you're registered for the meeting. And then the third item, I received a letter from Coach Ashla. I'm going to read the letter to you. Friends, we hope you are well this winter as we officially move into the new semester full speed. We cordially invite you to our annual Mikvah Challenge Issues to Action Showcase on Friday, April 24th, 2026 from 9:30 until 1:30 p.m. at Waukegan High School's Washington campus in Waukegan, Illinois. The event features a culmination of civics action projects our junior government civic students engage in over the course of the second semester in an academic fair-style event. The projects, based on student-selected issues of concern in the school, the community, and beyond, have been outstanding in the past, and we expect a continuation of that tradition in next spring. Several high schools from Lake County area will be participating, sending representatives from their civics class to join the event. We are hoping to expand the field of participating schools for the 2025-26 school year. We hope you will be able to join us for this year's showcase during this era when civic engagement may be among the most important endeavors we could possibly spend our time and our energy toward. An invitation to the event has been included for your planning purposes, and if you need information on this, just see me April 24th, 2026 from 9:30 to 1:30 p.m. at the Washington campus. Okay, next item, student board member report. Are we doing individual reports or is it one
Just together.
tag team report? Okay, student board member report. You're on.
Did you share it?
Are your mics working?
No, sorry. Did you share it?
Can we zip it over to them super fast?
Are there
Could you
slides?
share it, Tim?
Okay, who's controlling the slides?
He didn't.
You don't have it.
But can we send it super fast? It's totally fine. Workshopping it here.
Sorry, everyone. I can just get started for now, but we just really had our presentation, and on the agenda, we're going to talk about introduction to our two surveys me and Frankie had made, and then introduction to school expansion that Frankie wants to cover more on. And the two surveys that we created were student to student learning, basically a program for students to have a tutoring program in school rather than after school, because not a lot of students have free time after school. So I was working with Ms. Geeter, and we got that on the tables to get students' opinions to see who wants to volunteer and to help or like either receive help. And all the students who volunteer, they're able to, all the students who are in NHS, they're able to have get NHS hours for every hour that they volunteer. And then the student follow-up lunch survey, I believe it was just aimed to get more direct response from students to actually see like what can we do to like better make the lunches better for them, because like a lot of students now, they don't have secure food at home, so we want to make them as nutritious as they can, and yes, and filling, and yep.
Sorry.
Very good.
Hello?
Are we still working on the presentation?
Yeah, I sent it. I don't know.
Did you just want to go over yours?
I'll quickly go over mine. It's fine. So, conversation was brought up with one of my teachers, and I thought of having the idea of expanding our school or completely renovated. I thought of this because it'd be better for our students to have a new learning environment. I've visited high schools around Illinois, and I've seen that their schools are very modern and given to our high school. It has their history, and it's good, but I feel like it'd be best, and if it were feasible, to completely renovate our school or give it a new building, a new style, so our students can be more connected or modernized to like the day and day. And I saw this being more beneficial because our students would be more attached to this new building.
There we go.
Thank you.
And our goal would be to improve our school environment to better enhance learning for our students. Thank you.
Is that the end of it?
Yes. That's it.
Just in time?
Um,
Miss Lindsay, you wanted to?
Yeah. I love the work that you two are doing. I think it's really thoughtful and mindful of what our students are needing and wanting in the district. I would like for the student-to-student tutoring, I love that our NHS students can get those hours in. I wonder if there can be a partnership with ASAP so that before they start tutoring other students, they get some best practice in. Because I say that coming from an intensive background with tutoring and support services. So you just want to make sure they're going in with some tools in their toolkit to be able to best support the student in front of them. Because I've also received really bad tutoring where I actually got a lower grade on a paper because the person didn't have all of the skill sets needed. So that might be a good thing as you go into that, work with ASAP to see if like there's, a quick 15-minute thing to go over with students before they start tutoring others. I also love that we're talking about food because yes, we want it to be nutritious and filling. I also made the comment that we want it to be delicious, so it ends up in their bellies and not in the trash can. And I think we would all love for a new building for our students. And I think it's something that we need to continue chipping away at. I think resources are going to be the biggest hurdle. So we need to start thinking creatively on how we can attain those funds and get you guys the facilities that you deserve. Just because you don't live in a certain zip code doesn't mean you don't deserve the very best. So I love that that's still on the very forefront. Those are my comments.
Ms. Fabienne?
And I just want to compliment you both on pivoting, because we all know technology doesn't always work. And that's a huge skill set to know your presentation and be able to do it without your notes. So I commend you both on that.
Anybody else? And I just want to say, I'm very proud of these two young people who are sitting here with us. For those of you who don't know, these are two student board members. They are in high school. They're non-voting members of the board. They were selected by their classmates, and then the final decision was made by the Board of Education to represent the students, to actually sit here at our meetings and to give us input from the student body so that we have an idea of what the students are thinking, how they feel about certain issues and so forth. And also, they will be taking the information of what goes on in the board meetings back to the students, that the students have that pipeline through these student board members to know what's going on in the district. So I just want to say, I am really proud of both of you. You've done an excellent job. I think you deserve a big applause. And by the way, that was a great slide. And our superintendent would like to say something? Not yet? Okay, a little later. All right, next item, special recognition and presentation. IPA award presentation.
Drum roll.
Hello? Good.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Tom Cardamone. I'm the principal at Stanton School in Fox Lake, and I'm very proud to be a member of the Lake Region IPA board, along with Erica Berger in the back of the room. We are very excited to recognize two of your outstanding administrators this evening for region awards through the Lake IPA. The first person we want to recognize, and I believe this person was recognized at his school this morning earlier as well by a little surprise, is Mr. Nelson Campos. The IPA Lake Region has selected Nelson as their region principal of the year, middle school principal of the year, and there are really 5 key questions that candidates need to answer to display their commitment to leadership in this role, and is: how have you evaluated and shaped your school's culture to foster emotional and physical well-being and safety? What have you done to promote equity and for students and staff in your school? How do you involve students and staff in organizational decision-making and provide opportunities to empower them to be leaders? How are you leading learning and instruction in your school to ensure that students will succeed in a global society? And reflecting on data, how has your leadership impacted student achievement? After this application process was presented, Mr. Campos needed to receive approval from the district superintendent and then also submit 3 letters of reference to highlight their connection to high quality education. Nelson was quickly approved and highlighted how his commitment to the community has greatly impacted student performance, climate and culture, and collaborative practice. And obviously his skills and talents extend far beyond Waukegan, as he was recognized this morning by the state of Illinois through the state IPA board as the middle school principal of the year. So congratulations, Mr. Campos.
Come a long way, baby.
Congratulations.
Very proud of you. You know, before we go any further, I see a lot of people standing back there. If some of you would like to sit down, we still have a lot of vacant seats here. And Mr. Aljakis, are we doing streaming out in the?
Welcome to stand, and if too many of you go in the lobby, you're standing anyway, but that is an option for you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, sorry that you have to hear my voice more, but it's for a good reason. We also want to recognize Miss Shianta Myers this evening. We are very proud to recognize Ms. Myers with the 2025-26 Reaching Out and Building Bridges Award. This award is a testament to the strength of your service and commitment to the IPA. The Reaching Out and Building Bridges Award recognizes administrators like Shianta for fostering strong connections between schools, families, and the community, highlighting collaborative leadership in Lake County. This award honors those who connect disparate groups, for the benefit of students, reflecting broader IPA initiatives that also include regional and statewide recognitions for educational leadership in Illinois. Shianta went through the same process as Nelson did, so I won't read that paragraph a second time. But Shianta, on behalf of the Illinois Principal Association, we thank you for your dedication and your superior leadership and commitment to the IPA. Congratulations.
Wait a minute. I just want to recognize Mr. Campos and Ms. Myers for all their hard work and dedication, commitments, and collaboration, consistency. I could go on and on about both of you guys forever. I'd be remiss if I also did not call something else out. Today, Mr. Campos was also acknowledged as the Middle School Principal of the Year for Illinois. Can we give him a round of applause?
Speech.
Several board members and myself attended a celebration for him at Miguel Juarez today where all the students were part of it. And I just want to congratulate you. I want to thank your family for allowing us to be in his presence and giving us time that I know he steals from you all to give to the children of Waukegan. And I'd like to tell a little story about Mr. Campos when I met him. When I first met Nelson, it was, I believe, over 9, maybe 10 years ago, and he was a parent in our district, and I believe I was attending a Little Fort picnic at here in Waukegan at a park, and he was there as a parent, and we just sparked up a conversation. And he's like, I'm an educator. And I said, really? I said, oh, well, where do you work? And he's like, well, I work at a charter school in Chicago. I said, and you live in Waukegan? And he said, yes, I do. I said, well, we can't have that. We need you here in Waukegan. And I worked aggressively to get him to come back to Waukegan to serve the students. And I know I did not make the wrong decision that day. And I'm so glad that you blessed us with your presence and your consistency and your heart for children here. And that is not lost on me, Mr. Campos. I know as leaders, it gets tough and it's lonely. I know sometimes it feels like there's burials, trials and tribulations, but where you are is where you're supposed to be. And this is a testament that was for you. And this is where you're supposed to be. Maybe not forever, because I know you have aspirations to be a superintendent one day, but for right now. And I just want to tell you, I really appreciate, I admire you, and you keep doing the great work you're doing here in Waukegan. It's proof that you're on the right track. Thank you for all you do.
Did any of the board members have anything? Ms. Fabian?
So same, I met Mr. Campos as a parent. Our kids were both attending Little Fort at the time, and he was very active with the GPTO. And same thing, then I found out he was also an educator, and I asked the same question, like, what are you doing? So again, I'm very happy that you decided to come back to Waukegan, but I can say you juggled it all. You were still a very active parent and still pursuing your career, and it's been a pleasure. I think we've been watching each other's career journeys as we move along, and it's been a pleasure to see how successful you've been, especially because I know all the hard work that you've done at Juarez alongside with Miss Myers, because both of you were tag teaming it, and that's how I met Mrs. Myers. And I will say that both of you have always been very gracious whenever I wanted to do anything family engagement related, and they're always there, open door, ready to really listen to the community and listen to their families and their students and put their students' needs first. So I want to thank both of you for that.
Miss Lindsay.
I'm gonna sneak in, Miss Hannah, and you can have a better word than me. I also want to acknowledge that at this morning's celebration, I'm going to call it, at Juarez, Mr. Campos was also very intent on saying it's not just me getting this award. He was very appreciative of staff, of the students, of the families, recognizing it's a team effort to make a school run. It's not just your teachers in the classroom, it's your custodial, it's your secretaries, it's your paraprofessionals, it's security, everybody. So I just really admire that that you recognize that it's everybody. Yes, you put a lot of work in it. Yes, you had a great support system so that you can get the work done. And we really appreciate that. But I also love the teamwork that you acknowledge, which is so important. Miss Myers, representing 04 with pride. Nicely done. And I will say, anytime I'm over at Washington and I see you, you're always excited. You're always representing those kids and just loving on them and praising them and making sure that they get what they need. And in all honesty, that's the best anyone in this district could do. If the test scores are so-so, but those kids leave that school and enter that school feeling like they're loved and appreciated, that means the most to me. So I just love that you bring that passion every day. I'm not gonna cry.
Thank you. Ms. Hannah.
Mr. Campos, when did you leave? No, absolutely. That's what I thought. But we've been hanging in there a long time. Yes, and you've always been the same person that I met years ago. And just want to say, look, it's an honor that you receive the honor that you deserve for the Waukegan School District. And I just want to say you deserve it. And just keep doing what you're doing. Because I don't know how long things, will keep going, okay? But the kids over there, they have a good leader, and your staff and stuff. You're a good leader for them. So I thank you for doing that. Miss Myers. You're awesome. The kids love you, and just keep doing what you're doing. Keep growing into yourself and what you do, and all will be well. So, look, I'm just proud of both of you. Proud to be a part of it.
We are very fortunate to have both of you with us. We would like to get a group photo if we can.
So
would
wipe
you
your tears.
Maybe come up to the front here and all the board
Start unblushing.
kind of stand together here, but and your family, of course.
Where's the baby?
They're not babies anymore.
I know they're not a baby anymore.
You still have it, yeah.
Everybody, come on together. Yeah, let's all get it. Can we maybe move over to your,
Yeah.
move over to your left side a little bit?
They're so They're taller than you.
All right, why don't we all go out?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that makes sense. Look better. Just not outside.
Right.
Yeah, y'all on the board. Unless you don't want your.
I'm gonna get back. We need our honorees. Got it? Have a good night. Thanks, everybody.
Night.
Well done. Yeah.
Okay, next item on the agenda, 7B, is Spotlight on 60.
Let's go.
Dad's taking you guys to dinner.
I need it.
Whittier was authorized as an international baccalaureate school in the year of 2024, and part of being an international baccalaureate school is to teach students the learner profile, and the learner profile is a way in which you ensure students are globally and internationally minded, because the skills within the learner profile are transferable to anywhere in the world.
I earned this thinker card by solving like hard problems that I couldn't think, but I solved it in my brain. I was learning about multiplication strategies that my teacher told me the strategies about the test.
I read open-minded for listening to some of my friends' ideas during learning about expedition.
IB schools highlight these learner profile attributes. So the attributes are these 10 characteristics of internationally minded people. And so IB School hopes to foster global citizens. And so we really wanted to promote these attributes among our students and our staff.
We had a common language through PBIS that we used to say, be respectful, be responsible, be safe, be kind. And we saw that the kids really grasped that, but in addition to our learner profile cards, it was getting a little confusing, and the last thing we want to do is confuse students.
So the PBIS team, during our authorization process, identified a need to enhance and ensure students were not only just aware of the learner profile, but we're actually using the language in a school. It was part of our culture that the learner profile was being used. And so we intertwined the PBIS POS system with the learner profile. And so this is what we came up with as a team.
The idea was basically just something we could really utilize that would show each of our IB profile attributes and be something that the kids would find engaging. And the goal was something along the lines of they get into the Pokemon collector cards and all of those things. So if we could create something that was visually interesting to them, kind of similar to the Pokemon Go cards, where they could collect and be like, oh, I got this one, and you got this one, and oh, let me see if I can get all of them. That was really the goal with it.
We rewrote our school vision. Our vision starts with, we are a Whittier Wolfpack, which aligns with our PBIS framework. It aligns with our IB framework as well. These learner profile cards are an example of the importance of connections between students and teachers and staff. And as a school, we value that relationship and connections with kids deeply.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that presentation. Next item on the agenda, item 8, approval of minutes. We have 3 different sets of minutes that we have to approve, and I'm not sure who was or who wasn't. If anybody missed any meetings, we're going to take them all individually. First one is the approval of the minutes for the micro meeting open session, December 9th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle. Second by Ms. Hannah. Do we have any comments, corrections, changes to the minutes? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian? Ms. Hannah?
Sorry.
Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
President Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next one, the item B, approval of minutes for the regular open session of December 16th, 2025. We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Hannah. Any comments, corrections, changes to minutes? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah. Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
President Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Item 8C, approval of minutes for the micro meeting open session of January 13th, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Hannah. Any comments, corrections, changes to these minutes? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah. Ms. Lensing.
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez.
Yes.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes.
President Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries. Minutes are approved. Item 9, opportunity for public comment. Thanks. Okay, we have a few names on the list. As I call your name, please come up to the podium, state your name, and you will be given 3 minutes. Nahenia Briscoe?
Gina.
Oh, Wygenia. Oh, I know who
He
that
gave
is.
you the
Yes,
Spanish
I couldn't
enunciation.
read that. Wygenia Briscoe. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be funny.
said it in
Love your
He just said
humor,
it in
Ms.
Spanish.
Briscoe.
Do you want me to say it again for your benefit?
Wygenia?
There you go.
Is that how you
Yeah.
pronounce it? Okay.
Close. Gina Briscoe.
I just couldn't read it.
I know, it's my handwriting. Let me just get started because I only have 3 minutes. First thing I want to say before I get into what I really came up here for, you students, each year, you guys are getting better and better and better. I just want to acknowledge that. I mean, the first student was really good, but believe it or not, you guys are getting better, better, and better. The ideas that you guys bring forth, if the board does something with your ideas, there's no way that the school cannot get better. So I want to thank you for that. Other thing, I saw on the agenda is that you guys are going to talk about Earth Angels today. I looked at the last board meeting. It kind of got a little muffled for me. It's like they kind of had like a 1-year program, 3-year program. I think the board might be voting on a 1-year program. It appears that it should be a 3-year program. They're only asking, I think, less than $90,000. If you look at the data, and I'm very involved with the data with what's happening here, the data in the middle school, you can see for K through 5, it looks good. The minute it hits the middle school, you can see where the grades start to decline. This program is for the middle school. Now it's not getting started until February. So we've lost a semester, whatever it is here, the beginning of the school year. So we've lost time that our middle school could have been involved in this. And I kind of rewinded and looked at it again. Looks like it's an awesome program. But I think that what is happening now, the benefit that that program could have given, if it would have been brought forth earlier, the kids could have done a lot. Now I think maybe it's scaled down because it's only going to be one year. That's kind of what I got out of the presentation. So hopefully the board, I don't know what you guys have voted on tonight. If it's a 1 year, it definitely needs to be funded for 3 years. I don't know why it's not funded for 3 years. We need to do what we can do to support our babies. And we know that the challenge is in the middle school. Quickly, I asked before what's happening with BAM and WOW. I really would like to see, and if I'm not here, I still go ahead and I watch all of the school board meetings. We need to have a report on what's happening with BAM and WOW. We pay them millions of dollars. We need to know what's happening with BAM and WOW, at least every 6 months or whatever you guys decide, but it's been a long time. And I watch all the school board meetings, so I know I haven't seen it. I went to Zion. They have a program there called New Directions, and they let me sit through the program there. It's an awesome, awesome program, and it's during school time. So please, please, please give us an update on what's happening with BAM and WOW. The last thing I want to say is that usually I would be here a little bit more often like I used to be before. I'm still confused with these school board meetings. I don't know if it's a micro. I don't know if it's a macro. I don't know if it's a full. I don't know if it's an operation. I don't know what the hell's going on. If you guys could help us understand what's happening with the scheduling, I will be here more. More parents will be here more. There used to be a lot more parents. Not a lot, but at least more than what we have now. We can't get it straight. So from the community, hopefully that should have just been a pilot program. My opinion, it's not working. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Briscoe. Tom, and I can't figure out your last name. IPA.
Is it Candamore? Tom Candamore? He may have left already. may have been
Candamore, is that what
may
it
have
is?
been giving the
Yeah,
plaques
okay.
to
Erica
Mr.
Berger?
IPA. All.
Okay, IPA also. Okay,
I-
they were
IPA
here for the
also.
presentation. Okay, thank you. Linda Unda.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, community. My name is Linda Unda. I proudly stand here on behalf of the Waukegan Professional Support Staff. We are your secretaries, clerks, assistants, specialists, and technicians that serve District 60 and our families in the community every day. We keep our communities and school running and often go far beyond our job descriptions to make sure students, families, teachers, and administrators are fully supported. Tonight, I would call your attention to WPS's appreciation of the board's bargaining team for completing a most productive bargaining session last week. We appreciate their good faith effort. Every session going forward should be that way. We assure you we have been and remain ready to make that happen as we continue to negotiate for a fair contract that honors the work we do for the students and staff we serve. Because it's January and our members have been working without a contract for over 6 months, time is of the essence. So I come here tonight to encourage you to continue to support your bargaining team at our collective bargaining table and to ensure our working relationship is one grounded in respect. To us, that means bargaining with urgency. It means honoring the work that we do every day for our students and families. It means recognizing that we, the support staff, are essential, the heart of everything that happens at District 60. We look forward to getting this contract settled and to more sessions like the one we had last week. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I know this name, Jermaine Castellanos.
Yeah, if you want to take a couple of seconds just for background noise. Yeah.
Good evening. Sorry, my name is Jermaine Castellanos. Good evening, President, school board members, superintendent. My name is Jermaine Castellanos. I'm with the Boys and Girls Club. We serve over 400 Waukegan families. I understand that our bid for the Greenwood property is not the highest offer. I want to be very clear and respectful of the board's responsibility to steward public assets. I'm here tonight to ask you to consider not just the sale price, but the lasting value the buyer brings to the district and to the Waukegan students. If selected, this building would become a before school and after school care hub, serving children in our neighborhood, students who already attend Waukegan schools. It would provide safe supervision, academic support, enrichment, and reliable care for working families. In short, it would become an extension of the school day, aligned with your mission to support student success beyond the classroom. This use directly supports district priorities, improved attendance and engagement, academic support outside of school hours, safe, structured environment during critical times of day, stronger family stability, which leads to stronger students. Unlike a commercial buyer, our organization is not extracting value from the community, we are reinvesting it. This property would remain an educational asset, serving generations of Waukegan students, not just for the term of a lease or a business cycle, but for the long term. While another bidder may offer a higher dollar amount today, our bid offers something different, a community return on investment that supports your students, your families, our families, and your strategic goals. By accepting our bid, the district is not just selling a building, you're adding a partner, expanding student supports, and strengthening the ecosystem around our schools. On behalf of the families we serve and the children who would benefit from this program, I respectfully ask you to accept our bid and allow this building to continue serving Waukegan students. Thank you for your time, your leadership, and your commitment to this community.
Thank you, Mr. Castellanos.
And Frankie, and I don't know your name.
Treasure.
But the other student, sorry, the other student. I applaud you for memorizing your speeches. I did not, but thank you so much for hearing me out. And thank you. Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 10 is a consent agenda for academics. The consent agenda is a list of items that have been presented to the board before in other meetings, either committee meetings or other board meetings, and they are considered to be non-controversial. These are items that have already been presented to the board. The board has had a chance to hear about them and request any additional information that they want. So in order to save time and not go through each of them individually, we set up a consent agenda and we vote on them all at once. Now, are we holding?
Yes, and I just want to explain. Tonight, I'm asking the board to hold on item B and D, and I will give the rationale. Item B is Earth Angels program. I'm asking to hold that today. There was some concern that was brought from a community member, whether this item needs to go out for bid or how does that work. So the amount here is under the threshold that the board needs to approve. So just to ensure that we are remaining fiscally responsible, I need to look at this, and I just need a little more time. I also want to acknowledge that at the last meeting, I was out of the state for a conference, so that kind of pushed me behind. I may need a day or two. I did talk to Ms. Fulton. It's not that we're not bringing it forward. I just need to check a few more things out for the board. So I'm asking that we hold on this for another day or two. The second one is item D, and that is, give me one moment, please. Item D is the Cook School Broadway Teachers Workshop request. We have every intent of sending you guys on this workshop. However, Finance had a couple of questions that we need to clear up to ensure that the paperwork is correct. If you look at the date for the workshop, we still have time. So we will also be bringing this item back. So I want to give the reason and rationale why I'm asking to hold these two items this evening.
Okay, so I am looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through E with the exception of item B and item D, which are being pulled tonight.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of B and D.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Riddle. Any discussion on this motion? Ms. Fabian.
I just want to say thank you to Mr. Hamilton, not to pick on him, but thank you for cleaning up the PD, because as you know, it was never anything about you. I'm a stickler for, can we read these things and have them make sense for us? So thank you for that. And thank you to the Cook staff as well for putting in their PD early, because it does give us time when there are questions to go back and fix what needs to be fixed when we're not, seeing these PDs come in a week or two before you're trying to leave. So thank you to both of you.
Any other comments, questions, discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. Item 11 is the consent agenda for operations. There are 3 items on this.
Yeah, do we have to do B and D?
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, my mistake here. I'm going to read each of the items so that everybody knows what we just approved. Consent agenda item 10, A, renewal of frontline professional growth subscription. C, Cambridge Educational Services for ACT development and support, grades 9 through 12. E, renewal of Power School. F, National Summit on Improvement in Education Conference. G, Waukegan High School 2027 Spain trip. And H, Cogent to Comcast Internet connectivity transition. Okay, and now the consent agenda for operations. Are we voting on the whole agenda? Nothing's being pulled?
I have a point of order, just want to confirm. I believe the motion was to approve A through E with the exception of B and D, which would have left out F, G, and
No,
H.
I said A to H.
It was E that was stated.
The consent agenda except
Yeah, I said the consent agenda
B
items A
and
through H
B and D.
with the exception of B and D.
unfortunately, when you did read it, you said A through.
Oh.
So we need to go back on F,
Oh, I
G,
thought
H.
Ms. Hannah said.
If we could just have another motion to accept the consent agenda F through
Get it
H,
together.
that will solve the issue.
Okay,
Just make the motion, Ms. Hannah.
Okay, I make the motion to accept the consent agenda A through H, except B and D.
I'm going to pause. Did we get a final vote on A through E? So could we have a motion to accept the consent agenda F, G, and H?
So moved.
And second?
Yeah. Second.
That covers us.
All right.
Thank you.
okay, we're covered.
Yes.
Do we need to vote?
We
Oh,
need
yeah,
a
you
roll
do
call.
need to
We can
vote.
vote for it. Yeah.
Okay, do we have any comments, any discussion on that motion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian?
So this is for F through H. Yes.
F through H.
Ms. Hannah?
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries. So the whole consent agenda was approved minus items B
B
and D. Okay. Consent agenda for operations, we are voting on the whole agenda. It's a short agenda, the 3 items. 11A is approval of facility rental waiver request for Focus. B is approval of facility rental waiver request for Cosmos Soccer. And C is the approval of West Insurance Renewal, Property Casualty Insurance Consulting 2026.
I move to approve 11A, B, and C as read.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Riddle, second by Ms. Fabian. Roll call vote, please.
Can
Ms. Fabian?
I just wanted to add thank you again to Operations Department for fixing Focus's rental waiver agreement. They do not charge fees to our students to have this summer school program. So I just wanted to be very clear about that. Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries. Consent agenda for operations is approved. 12 purchases and contracts, I see none. 13 personnel items.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education accept the administration's recommendation to approve the appointments, retirement, and accept the resignations and terminations as found on schedules F1002, L949, T317, and G660.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Riddle,
Second.
second by Ms. Fabian. Any discussion on that motion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries. Item 14, grants and donations, I see none. Nothing under other. Item 16, financial reports. Superintendent?
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Education ratify the 2nd January 2026 of board bills, manual check request payments, and no national bank insurance payments for the period of January 7, 2026 through January 20, 2026. The accounts payable board payments for the period of January 7, 2026 through January 2026 total $2,029,212.25. The manual check request payments for the period of January 7, 2026 through January 2026 totals $1,707,255.88. Though national bank insurance payments for the period of January 7, 2026 through January 20, 2026 total $0.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Riddle,
Second.
second by Ms. Fabian. Any discussion on that motion? Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Oh, pass.
I had
Ms.
to there.
Lensing?
Pass.
Ms. Ramirez?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries. Item 17, reports and presentations. Do we have any committee reports? Ms. Fabian?
PTAC met on January 15th, which is the Parent Teacher Advisory Committee. We're still reviewing some policies, but it's been going very, very smoothly. As far as our agendas, we're getting through it, reading through it. So I'm seeing a lot of movement there, which is great. However, I would also like to see a lot more parents log in. If you would like the link, if you can't make it in person, please reach out to Outreach or Oscar Dupuis to get that link so that you can participate in that committee meeting. Oh, and we also have been meeting for the AI policy. AI is moving faster than we are. We want to be really intentional and thoughtful to make sure we capture everything that we need to. But again, there's been a lot of progress there. So thank you to Dr. Cuevas for leading that committee.
Any other committee report? Ms. Ramirez?
Met with our FACE committee last week. Really excited to be hearing some of the stuff that is coming out, even though it's just a team of one. She's working very hard and diligent to make sure that things are still going on. So the Black History Month Gala will be on February 7th, and we've already began discussing Hispanic Heritage Month celebration as well. So if there are people who are willing to help or want to be part of the committee, please feel free to reach out to either the FACE department or superintendent, I'm sure, can give also information for parents who want to join, but they do need a lot of support that department.
Thank you, Ms. Ramirez. Ms. Hannah?
The Wellness Committee met, and we are in the process of reading a book, The Anxious Generation, and we're going to be discussing that, and we are talking the Illinois Youth Survey for middle school and high school will be starting in April, I think, and hopefully we can get 100% of our students to participate in that, and we're looking into some of the issues with students vaping and the accessibility that they have, not in the schools, but within the neighborhood. I see the alderman out there. So within the neighborhood, there's places that are, selling these things to our students underage, and so we are we're going to be devising some kind of correspondence that will be we'll bring it to, of course, the superintendent and the board for approval, but we want to make contact with the authorities. We're looking to do with the survey to try to get 100%. We're also talking about some type of incentive for the students, to participate in the survey. We're also continuing about the vaping posters that we're devising to put up in the school buildings and such. Other than that, I'll keep you posted.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Any other committee reports? Okay, delegate report. Hannah, do you have anything?
No, you already told us about the April 15th meeting. And there's the new legislative, the list came out, and you guys be interested in some of the legislation that's coming up, and that legislation, yeah. Okay, that's about it.
Thank you, Ms. Hannah. Superintendent's report.
Yes, good evening. I'm going to have Mr. Alajakis come up, And I believe we're going to tag team on Go 4, Superintendent Go 4. And it's the goal around safety, climate, and belonging. So I guess we'll tag team. I'll jump
We
in
are.
and
We're going to
jump
work
in.
together. Good evening, everyone who's still here. I'm Nick Aladzakis. I'm going to be working with the superintendent to talk a little bit through the progress where we're at for Goal 4. And this presentation is also linked in board docs if you want to follow along, or if you're so excited by what you hear that you want to go back and review it on your own, you can. So Superintendent's Goal 4. It's on your screen. By March of 2026, the district will engage students, staff, families, and community members in a coordinated effort to strengthen perceptions of safety, climate, and belonging. This will include annual safety and climate surveys, a superintendent-led listening tour across all schools and buildings, and expanded opportunities for two-way dialogue. Feedback will be analyzed to identify themes, guide responsive actions, and inform regular reports to the Board of Education and community. What I just did is the last time you'll see me read an entire page. I trust that you all are capable of following along. I respect everyone's time. And so we're going to be summarizing the rest of this presentation, what's on here, because it's a little lengthy. I've been told I talk a lot, so I'm going to do my best to summarize it. What we want to kind of start off with are some high-level actions for Goal 4. So when the board set this goal back in the fall, we sat down, the superintendent and myself and the safety department and some others, to figure out what are some high-level actions. How do we tackle this? Because it's not really a goal that she's had officially in the past. So what would we want to do? And we talked about, we pulled out parts from the goal and part of the discussions that the board had in building this. So we want to do some survey and data collection, superintendent's listening tour, both of which we're going to touch on today. And then there was also some engagement, some analysis, and some reporting. So that's sort of the process that we're going to be following.
And we also looked at our 5 essential survey to see where some of our gaps were, so that we could bridge those two.
That's very true. And if you guys will remember the presentation that was given in the spring by Ms. Maluski on the 5 essential survey, as we go through these surveys, you're going to start seeing some similar trends kind of coming back up. And that is what led to some of the creation of the goal and what we're trying to address. So first things, there were surveys back in the fall that was given to parents, staff, and students in grades 6 through 12, where we talked about some of these topics: the belonging, your safety, the climate in your schools. There was a number of multiple choice questions as well as some open-ended questions to allow people to give us their feedback. We're going to start really quickly with survey summary, and the survey summary is going to be the multiple choice questions. So from staff, you'll see here, there's 2 pages on kind of what we learned from staff because we had a higher number of staff members. No, I'm sorry. On this, there's 1 page. Later, there'll be 2 pages. So
I
what
could
we learned
jump in
from
here. You want me
staff.
to jump
Go
in
ahead.
here?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
So generally, what we seen is that our staff feel safe in their school buildings. And another thing that we seen was around discipline. And I'm not reading from here because I've been presenting at schools and having meetings with students. But the concern was inconsistency in discipline. And it can be inconsistency in referrals of discipline from student to administrator, but also inconsistencies in discipline from classroom to classroom. So how one teacher deals with a situation versus another. So we're looking at those inconsistencies. Staff perception, school leadership and managing student behavior is mixed in what I told you, those inconsistencies. And school climate and communication are positive. Our staff felt that working together, they felt there was collaboration, they felt support, they were fairly positive in regards to working with their peers. Did you want to add anything there?
No, I think you touched on it. Next, we have kind of what we learned from the survey from a student perspective. And you could see there, these were sort of the main takeaways. One thing I want to pull out, the majority of students reported feeling safe always or often, though noticeable groups indicate that they only feel safe sometimes in certain areas of the school: hallways, restrooms, common areas. You guys will remember that was a big theme that kind of came out of 5 Essentials as well. And that's something that, as we're going through this, that we're working with the safety department as we start getting more and more data on this, what can we do? How can that be addressed? The last one is families. Again, these are the multiple choice.
I think an important one, can we go back?
Sure.
I think an important one here, and just because listening to the students, they said when safety concerns are reported, they believe that adults listen and respond, but they sometimes feel that the response is inconsistent or delayed, if that makes sense. And in speaking with the students, it was like, are you really hearing what I'm saying and following up on it? And so majority of them would say yes, but they don't know what that follow-up looks like because no one communicates back with the students. Ms. Briscoe's shaking her head. Go ahead, Nick.
Sure. Next up is families. One that I wanted to highlight, and I'm sure Superintendent may have one, is we had some reoccurring concerns related to the bullying and inconsistent discipline. Again, this is something that families reported. They're hearing either from their children or that they are experiencing. So Superintendent, I don't know if there's any other ones that you wanted to highlight on that before we get to the other themes.
Nope, I think, no, you're good.
All right. And then we have our key themes. So as I stated earlier, the key themes kind of come out of the open-ended questions. So the open-ended questions allowed you to kind of let us know what else we can do to improve, what else would you like to state? And so people is really able to give us their thoughts. But as you go through those thoughts, you start seeing the themes. Now from staff, as I said, it's a few more themes. We're going to have 10 key ones that sort of came a few times. So the first 5, number 1, was student discipline. I think the superintendent touched on that. And then there's some other things related to safety and consistency, communications issues, building physical improvements, which our student board members mentioned today. And then moving on, Superintendent, I don't know if you have to add anything about these next
I do
ones.
want to add in here. So communication, if I was asked what am I trying to solve or what keeps me up at night, I would say communication. I mean, there's a lot of things, but it's how is communication funneling down, and is it consistent, and is it supportive, right? And sometimes the message can start off very strong, but by the time it gets to the classroom, it morphs into something different or not as strong messaging as previous. So it keeps me up at night. Here's my dilemma. My dilemma is, though, when I speak to my staff and some that are watching this board meeting, I hear, Ms. Placencia, if I get another email from you, I'm going to scream. And I say, am I sending out that many emails? But I'm trying to keep you informed. So I think our goal as a Board of Education and the administration is, how are we communicating with staff? There's got to be different methods in communicating with them to ensure that they are getting the message in a timely manner, but that message is staying consistent throughout the process, if that makes sense. Another thing that we've seen here is that, which I'm not surprised, but our staff said, hey, listen, we like professional development, and I think that's on the next slide. I may be ahead of myself because I've been looking, but we like professional development, and we even want more professional development, which I thought was a good thing. Another thing that I've seen here, can you go to the next slide? I talked about that the consequences change from whether school to school, administrator to classroom, or classroom to classroom. Another thing that came out here is that our staff feels supported by one another, and I did call that out. One thing that I want to make the board aware, another concern of our staff is that when policies are changed or when our procedures change, how is that information getting to them? So now currently I'm brainstorming, maybe there's a recap after the board meeting that the board took action. I mean, I want to expand that. I know I see your face, but I want to expand that more because we're hearing that that's not enough, right? So what is it? And I do know that we can go back and look at the YouTube. I understand all that. But a way on where we're really calling out policy to say, hey, listen, hypothetically, timeout. What is the policy around timeout? How are we supporting you knowing that policy, implementing that policy, but also educating that policy as it changes? Because when I was at Greenwood today, they said, okay, well, there could be a policy and we've been doing things this certain way for a long time. And the shift in practice at time takes time to bridge and to get there. And so how are we getting supported in bridging that shift in practice from what was to what is now? And so that is a question that I'm grappling with right now.
All right, we're going to move on then to some of the key themes from our students. And those, again, issues that you're kind of seeing from staff as well, with the consistency in how issues are addressed. You'll see, number one, students do report. They had some reports of there's bullying, there's harassment, there's peer conflict, and they don't feel it's consistently addressed. And so that was kind of the number one thing that we saw, that when you hear that, it's obviously going to be a concern. And so how do we work to ensure that those issues are not occurring, or that students, don't experience that in a school where we want them to be safe and comfortable and feel like they belong. Then some other things, back to the facilities that, again, was raised today by our student board members that we kind of hear from time to time, as well as some other key themes. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, and I think it's also important to know that students want better communication also. And they want more consistent communication and respectful interaction with adults. That was a point that we've seen in that survey.
And families, the last key themes, more to the communication and transparency that they're asking for. They say some of the buildings feel unwelcoming, or the access is difficult, and that's not, getting to the building, but, getting into the building, how you get in, the steps you have to take, how welcoming and friendly all of that is. Another one that I know safety has been working on for a number of years, and a lot of us have, is like the number 4. We've been working with our partners in the city. How do we make that traffic around the building in the morning, in the afternoon, better for our students who are there, for our parents who may be picking up, and for the community that live around there? So that's a constant thing, particularly in some of our in our schools that are in neighborhoods that were maybe built 80 plus years ago, that we didn't have as many vehicles, or there weren't as many people as there are now, making it a little more difficult to get around those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Anything
And
more on
I think
families?
you did state that, but we have been working with the city on that process, and I just want to acknowledge that we have Alderwoman Lynn Florian with us this evening. Thank you for being here.
So we're going to transition now to our listening tour. Our listening tour, anyone who's been around knows the superintendent every year or so does a listening tour. She kicked off her time here in Waukegan with what was actually more than 100 stops over the course of about 2 months. The listening tour at that time, she met with students and staff and families, and this is the first time where we're going kind of back to that, meeting with as many people as possible. And so this listening tours have already begun with our staff, and they started today with our students. So she'll be meeting with staff at every building, both the school buildings as well as here at 214 Washington, and at the non-school buildings like Lincoln Center, which she actually met with yesterday, to kind of talk through the themes that we saw in this survey, but also make it open-ended for them as well. Maybe there's a topic that didn't come out in the survey, but they want to discuss it. So the structure is going to allow for that. There's also tours planned with students, about a half a dozen or so students at each building, not just you could keep where it was, Stephen, at the listening tour structure and participation.
Yeah. Thank
We're
you.
good. And then beginning in February, we're going to start doing our parent listening tours, which there'll be some virtual and some in-person. We're also going to be, those are going to be like the mid to late February. We're also going to be structuring those by bands, like for grades, because we know that elementary students and elementary parents might have similar things they want to discuss. So we'll try to meet with them at a similar time, and meet middle school students, parents at a similar time, and high school at a similar time. That's also, so if you're a parent, you have a middle school student, you also have an elementary student, you could attend both. And so we want to be able to kind of give different opportunities for people to meet with the superintendent in different languages that she'll be conducting, both virtual, in person. We're trying to offer as many of those opportunities as possible, and those are going to be getting announced next week so that people have a few weeks to prepare for that. So,
Can I jump in here?
please.
So normally when you start this little listening tour, it's a little bumpy. in the beginning till you get your cadence going and you start rolling, right? So now we're up and rolling, and I had a great listening to her, my first student listening to her at Jack Benny. It was phenomenal with the kids, how they expressed themselves, the concerns. I mean, they were just so spot on how they articulated what they need, how they want to be seen, and actually their expectations. So it was really, really enlightening. I am going to be sending an invite to the Board of Education that if you would like to come with me on a listening tour, a staff one and a student one, we could do one by one because of OMA rules. There's so many of them to jump in, and you will be getting that email tomorrow so you can sign up. So I hope that you guys would join me so you can see the process of exactly what is transpiring during these gatherings.
Miss, you want to wait till after the slides?
It's okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I see here that you're only gonna be talking with 5 to 8 students.
Those are the groups. Go ahead.
They're groups that are coming in. So to manage 20 is too much. And so to make it authentic where I'm able to interact with them, the principals, we've given out detail like, hey, you know, we're not looking for a specific student. We want a wide range of students, right? And so principals have, in a sense, a student picture of, you know, who we're looking for to join. Yeah. And so, yes, it's about 5 to 8. Today, I believe there was about 8 students, maybe 10.
Is that a fair representation of the students' voice?
Well, we did give a survey, and we're going to give more surveys, and we're going to put suggestion box. We can brainstorm through this, and I'm open for ideas. Just 20 or 30 students, it loses the intimacy, and in many cases, Miss Hannah, I'll deal with Jack Benny today. I have to work on building trust with the students. So it really takes the first 10, 15 minutes is just really getting them comfortable to being with me and speaking with me. And they're more open when there's not as many, because like I had a young student today who came from India, and she says, when I'm here, I feel like I'm invisible. And times I want to be invisible. And I don't think she would have said that in a group of 20 and 30, but the group of 8 and the support of that, once we got rolling and just how they opened up, I mean, I will tell you it was powerful. And for a student to say, I feel like I'm invisible, or at times I want to be invisible, because some people or some students, shouldn't say, some students don't understand my culture. And that taught me that we need to do more cultural awareness here in our district, because we do have a large Indian population coming, right? And she even broke it down. She said, in India, they assume that I'm from here, but I'm from a completely different place in India, and it doesn't work that way. And so, I broke it down like we're Midwesterns. East Coast does things different. The South may do things different. And so we have to recognize that geographically that those cultures shift, right? And so how do we open up that space? Another thing she said today was, we recognize Hispanic Heritage Month. We recognize Black History Month. But what about Pacific Asian? Like she said, we had one celebration. She said, we should be doing that every year. And she's absolutely right. Like she said, we only did that 1 year. You and I were at that, Ben.
We did it.
I'm not on a mic. They've done it multiple years, which is a concern to me. So I think the thing is, it comes down to communication again.
Yeah.
But from her perspective, it's only happened once, and that is the concern.
Yeah.
Factual, unfactual, that's her perception.
I think she was talking about the I think she's talking about how big the venue was, right? Like, that we had singers and performers, and it was more intentional this last time at Jack Benny when there was you're absolutely right, because there was 2 years. And I remember Mr. Riddle being there, Mrs. Riddle. But she's
'Cause my
saying that
kids
she would like to
danced
see it,
and
like,
put up
what
chairs.
happens during that month? What are we doing? Like,
The
she
whole
wants
month.
to see
Yeah.
more of that.
And
Right?
in building probably too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good point, and she felt safe to say that. But we can think about how do we get more students involved, surveys, maybe online gatherings. I'll brainstorm through that, Ms. Hannah.
Sorry, I was just going to ask is it fair to say that when we asked the principals to pick, or when you asked the principals, I should say, to pick the students, you asked for a population of students that reflects the diversity of their school, right? Or so that the students, the 5 to 8 students, is coming from different programs, different grade levels, different ethnic backgrounds.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm going to jump on that. We also want to make sure that like the students constantly in the principal's office need to also be included in the conversation. So like what we are anticipating is, and I'm not saying that that's not happening, is just when we get the information after all of this, we get the demographics so we can see the spread.
Not the honor roll student each time, but that's what I'm saying, every different programs.
And we were clear about that, right?
Yeah.
Like we want to get every student's perspective. You may have an honor roll student, different makeups. That's how I'm going to leave it.
We have a
go
couple
ahead.
more slides, right?
Yep.
Go ahead, Nick.
So the next slide talks a little bit about just the structure in the staff listening tours. They began last month. Superintendent attends a few a week after school, after work hours, so that staff can attend. One thing we're doing is we're using SIBME, that's our AI tool, to record a portion of the meeting with the consent of the staff to be able to then kind of identify some of the key themes that come out of that. Now, it's completely optional for staff to attend, and so you get different levels of participation at different buildings, depending on whether staff would like to stick around or not, that you kind of have those honest dialogues with the superintendent. And then,
Can I jump in there? I
Sure.
do want to state that we do ask the staff if they're okay with us recording that and using SIBME or an AI tool, right? And so if the staff is not okay with that, then I will just manually take notes. Thus far, it has been very positive where the staff has said, yeah, we can use the tool.
and so going on to the student tours, don't have much on it because student tours started this week. This presentation was done before this week, but they began today. One thing that, a positive thing that's kind of already come out of it, I know the superintendent was really impressed with some of the feedback and the structure that some of the students at Benny wanted to go. I'm heading over to Benny tomorrow to work with that group of students. We're sort of building out what they think is like an ideal structure for these moving forward. And so we're working on like a high school, a middle school, and elementary school, because we know the way you talk to third graders is not the same way you're going to talk to 11th graders. And so they're helping me out with that tomorrow to make sure that there's some additional student input and voice in that. And that'll be something that will be brought to the other tours with the students to kind of work into implementing those.
And that goes to where we're starting and we find out, well, this is not working. I had a meeting at Jack Benny today and I was supposed to be at Abbott today. My meeting at Jack Benny went way over and I did not want to cut students short. But through that process, I said, we need to reschedule Abbott because the kids need to craft and be part of the process of crafting the questions that they understand, right? Or that they're looking for. And so I did ask Nick to go back out to Jack Benny to work with a group of students that were my first listening, learning tour of students. And so that's what we'll be doing tomorrow.
So next steps, we are going to be complete the remaining listening tours. We're going to continue to analyze the survey results and the listening tour feedback. Schedule, we still need to get those parent listening tours scheduled so that parents are all aware of how those are going to look, both virtual and in person. We're working with our data department on a dashboard. A lot of the goals have dashboards, and so what information there is going to be relevant. And then kind of coming out of that, there's going to be the development of some short and long-term goals. One thing I failed to mention, I want to go back. We don't need to go back, but in the agenda, if you go to the slide that talked about the surveys, there's a little hyperlink that says results.
Mm-hmm.
You can click on that results tab and you could see much more detailed Google Doc, about 5 or 6 pages for students, 5 or 6 for staff, 5 or 6 for parents that breaks down all the survey results there. You could view them at your pleasure. We did not want to spend any additional time on that today. And that concludes what I had.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes, I'm really pleased to see what we're doing on this goal. And I want to compliment you and continue that I think our district needs to continue to focus on our students, our staff, and our community. When I was at III, I had the opportunity to attend one of the spotlight sessions that was called The Power of Belonging. It was presented by Dr. Doug Bolton, who is a psychologist who has worked for the past 30 years with schools on the North Shore here, all around Chicagoland and all around the nation, actually. But he has a new book called Untethered: Creating Connected Families, Schools, and Communities. And I purchased his book at the seminar and have been reading it through Christmas. And I believe it really hits on a problem that is not just in our school district, but is in all American school districts. He compares what is going on in American schools with what's going on in some of the European schools. And he finds the problem is a sense of belonging. And he has worked with Highland Park School District and Schaumburg's Consolidated School District 54 in our community here. And he showed some of the results, especially in Schaumburg, working with that school district for a few years, how their the climate improved so much, but the unexpected, or not he expected to occur, was that discipline problems went way down and academic performance went way up. So I would highly recommend that maybe we take a look, have a little talk with Dr. Bolton. I talked to him, after the conference. He is available. He is a consultant. He's got a nice website. Actually, in December 17th, I sent you a memo about him. And talked about the possibility of even using him in other ways. But there are people in our community that, and he is one of them, that has studied this problem. He is passionate about our children and how they are so untethered there, especially with social media and so what's going on in our society. And he has some solutions for that, and just like the Anxious Generation book, he talks about possibilities, what we can do as parents, as teachers and community and staff, and he shows how we as schools have a big opportunity to have impact on these children, much more than almost any institution, because kids spend more time in school than they do at home with their parents. So we have an obligation to really work with this problem, and it all boils down, with his experience, to creating this sense of belonging. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth here. I hope we can discuss that further.
Thank you. Who is next?
Thank you for the presentation. I think some of the observations are going to translate to frustrations, because when we look at those survey results, you have less than 20% of your staff participating. You have maybe 2% of students, and then those 2% families. So it's frustrating for me, because as a board, how can we get a real picture for only those actively participating? Generally, when it comes to surveys, my understanding, and I could be wrong, is that you participate in a survey when you're really excited about something or really upset about something. And so we could potentially be missing those middle of the road people to really hone in on our issues. When we talk to students about the sense of belonging, the question is, do you feel like you belong? What does that mean to them? Yeah. Right? Like, from the conversation that you had with this young lady over at Jack Benny, I would say she doesn't feel like she belongs. So, but for other kids, they do feel like that. So what is it? Is it the food in the cafeteria doesn't make you belong? Does it your classmates? Is it the traditions or lack of traditions that bring us together as a community? What does that mean? So I really want to understand what is each group's understanding of what belonging is and how it meets, exceeds, or fails to meet those expectations.
Because
you can jump in and then I'll continue. That's fine.
no, I'm just gonna say, because it has just like a
Catchphrase.
Like a fad,
Buzzword.
catchphrase, buzzword. The sense of belonging. I mean, what does that actually mean for the student?
Yeah.
You
There has to be a common definition.
I see he's shaking his head. What does that mean? And are we throwing something at them? And they don't, they're going to answer just kind of off the cuff because they don't know what you're asking.
Right. And so I apologize, Superintendent. For me, it comes down to asking targeted questions that get to at least what our understanding of belonging means. And if they feel that or not, right? So an open-ended, of course, like what does it mean to them? But if we have the common definition, we're asking targeted questions to see if we're meeting that definition. That's on that. I love that the students are being very honest is what I'm hearing in terms of they don't feel respected. I am very big on that in this district. If our teachers and staff do not respect our students, they know it, they feel it, and in my opinion, they don't belong in this district because you are doing more harm not respecting them and then teaching them the Pythagorean theorem than not really getting them to understand a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but them feeling like they're a valued member of the community. So I love that our students are saying that, and I just want to make sure that's honed in on how we can get that improved within this district and have accountability around that. The question that I have, Superintendent, can you help me understand or elaborate more on when the communication is strong at the top, when it gets lower down in the communication change, what do you mean it's not as strong?
Yeah, so I'm going to take an example. So it's not always coming from the Stoops office, right? So we can talk about ASAP, right? We just adopted a new curriculum. And our teachers are very excited about the curriculum, right? But the messaging on the pacing, right? So we know that there's a pacing guide. That's actually one of my goals also. But now how that message gets trickled down is like, okay, well, now it could be let me just say it like this. A principal can say, well, you know, the district is making us do that versus saying why the importance of doing this to cover more skills, right? So now that that communication of where we've heard Ms. Rice Dela Sanchez and Pam say, listen, we need to cover all the skills of the year. So we need to make sure that we're pacing to cover all the skills, because what we found is we're not even covering half of the skills that should be covered that year in some cases, not all cases. So I want to make sure for the public, this is not just a blanket statement. I'm just giving a possible scenario. And so if we're only giving half of them, we're not getting them equipped for what they need to make a full year of growth if they're not touching those skills. So when I've been speaking with staff, I'm saying, and we're talking about the pacing, well, I won't get into that. So that's how that messaging is not being consistent or in the sense supported through the ranks of the district. It starts to morph into something else, or it's filtrated a number of times, right? And so that's why we have discrepancy in what at one school versus another, or we could even have excitement at one school versus another. It could be through the bilingual department. I'm not saying this is true, it's just example, right? Like what I could really be buying into the program in hypothetically full immersion. Let's just say we're doing that. That's not what we're doing. Of course we know that, but let me just say full immersion. Another person doesn't believe in full immersion. So now it's like, okay, well, we shouldn't be doing that. So it's the messaging of the strategy of what we're doing, how it gets down there. And then it builds frustration, it builds burnout, it builds low morale when that messaging is not consistent and we're not supporting the same endeavor as a group in its entirety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it sounds like you're wanting to make sure, one, they understand the how and the why, because from my perspective, if I was an employee and you're just adding on to my plate, it feels like a to-do list. But if the intentional message is, here's what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and this is the expected outcome, the buy-in is going to increase, right? So that game of telephone can drastically impact whether you have teachers and staff buying into the process versus resisting and fighting it along the way.
Right.
Okay.
Ms. Fabian was next.
Sorry, are you done with yours? Sorry.
For now.
That's what I was going to say. Basically, it's a game of telephone. It's how people heard and interpreted the message.
Yep.
And I will say, as former staff, and even down when I was parapro, right? When it really trickles down, it's how someone interpreted it, then taught you it,
Coded
and so that's going to happen in any organization. And how do you improve that? But it also happens, I will say, with our families, right? We put out messaging all the time, and our families don't interpret it correctly, and then that misinformation spreads. So there's got to be a way that we figure out how is it that we write our messaging in different ways so that they're not misinterpreted, right? Because the style of writing, press writing versus writing to a family is totally different. And I've done a lot of professional development on that. Like sometimes we use those $5 words when we only need a nickel, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other piece of it when it comes to communication, just in general. As far as the student portion of the communication, and I've suggested this before, from hearing from students, we keep emailing them, and a lot of them don't even open up their emails, their district emails, because it's just overwhelming. Because they get an email every time something's put into their Google Classroom or anytime somebody makes a comment on something. And so what they do is they go to the Google Classroom. And so I don't know if we can create a file folder that says like flyers or upcoming events or, things you got to know to push those flyers, things for them. So when we're doing these student forums or listening tours, if we could ask the students what would they prefer, and I will even say, like, we need to learn how to communicate the way they do. Like, they're on TikTok, they're on social media, they're and it's easy to say get off of that or don't do it,
there's
but the
reasons
reality,
behind that.
but the reality is our students communicate differently than we do,
for sure.
and they receive messaging differently than we do. Right? There's a lot more visuals and a lot more music. It's
Slang
different.
and accessible. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, part of that listening tour when we're talking with our students, if that could be one key point, like one key question is how do you prefer your communication from your school district and your school? Because those are two different things.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's part of the issue too, right? Like your school might be doing a phenomenal job messaging out what's happening, but they're not getting the district stuff, like the surveys that they have to take that come down from the district. So how are they best receiving it, or how would it be more helpful? I think that's something that should go along. And I don't know if they can go on the tour with you, at least to a couple of different schools, if they can take turns to also help facilitate and learn, and maybe they can get more ideas of how that would look like.
Okay, we have several hands up. Ms. Hannah, I think, was next,
And then treasurer had her.
then treasurer.
Yes.
Okay, well, I want to go back to the communication to staff about our policy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when we change policy, we should be sending out the policy. If they're new policies, if they're amended policies, if they're reworked, revamped, whatever, those policies should be sent out to all of our schools in a reasonable amount of time after we approve them. I mean, that should be done.
I could speak to that. We work with our legal team when policies are approved, and there's revisions, modifications to policies to put that information in the bulletin. So it'll be like a little short write-up, policy X, Y, Z. And we'll grab language that's essentially in there to say, here's what's changed, and they'll have a link
They
to
may
it once
not
it's.
know what the policy was in the first place that you're trying to that you're linking.
But it
And
also
so
goes to-
they should have, and I'm sure that they should have a policy book, I would hope, in
I'm
each
not sure
of
who
their
they-
schools.
Oh,
And
Teachers
each
not
of
gonna have
their
a book.
schools. And the when there's change, those policies should be sent over to the schools, and then that comes in superintendent. You would mention to your principals or your, okay, and tell them new policy was set out. It needs to be discussed, talked about with the principals so the principals can tell teachers and staff. And that's what should be happening. I was hoping that that's been happening anyway.
So I would like to just jump in on two things. All board policies are available to all staff, as well as everybody in the community, 24/7 on the board's website under Board of Education and board policies. They're organized. There's a table of contents. You can do a word search. Everybody has access to policies at all time. They have to choose to look for them and read them. When we have updates, they may have been involved in developing the updates, such as PTAC recommendations if they chose to participate. But when they're done and through the board, where they can also pick up on them when they are noted for first and second reading, we do work with Mr. Alajakis to communicate that the update is final, and then it is reposted, the updated version, in the board, public board policy website page. So nobody doesn't have access to policies that are current at all time. I do think that there may be a nuance when they say policies. They don't always mean the official board policy. It could be practices for how they're being implemented as well. So I think we just, policy can sometimes be across the board for a range of things. As well, one last thing, Mr. Moten holds regular liaison meetings with all of the board union presidents, and they can bring concerns about what's policy and practice there at any time if their membership has questions.
So I think, again, it goes back to interpretation, because you're right, policies are sent out, but how I read it and understand it may be different than how someone else reads and understands it. And so simply sending out the update is not enough. And it goes back to what Ms. Placencia was saying, is the then what? So this policy change, which means our practice has to change, because policy moves practice, right? So how that information is getting out is probably where the disconnect is, because what does that policy change mean for the staff? That's where I think the disconnect is happening.
I agree.
And that's
But I think Treasurer was next. Actually.
Okay,
I'm
Ms.
sorry, I
Allen.
jumped on.
Yeah,
Jumped
I
in.
didn't even finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Miss Ellen.
Oh,
Oh, I thought you.
no, go ahead.
We'll loop it back.
I'll come back.
I just want to go back to what Miss Fabian said about trying to get the communication back to the students. I would say teachers is like a good idea, because my teacher, one of my teachers, she like posts reminders about scholarships, events, and like other things, and like it goes back to the student directly. And so I think that would be a good idea to get to the teachers first, so they can get back to the students directly.
Thank you, Treasure, for that. I also think is we may be doing something, but we can do it, we can build upon it, right? Like we can scaffold it up to improve practice. And so we may be putting that in the bulletin. I do think it needs something else. And so we got to figure out from this. I mean, this is just initially, I think I've been to 4 or 5 schools, and we just started. So as we see that, though, it's just to improve it and solidify it and go deeper so that our staff feels supported and we're getting them what they need to be successful in the classroom. And Miss Lindsay, I don't.
So who is Miss? There's somebody. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to finish.
I'll let Miss Hannah finish her second round, and then, as always, I have a follow-up.
No, I just wanted to say, I thought I heard something about the staff. I'm going with the staff again. See, we're a unit school district. And I think that that building autonomy, okay, has caused the problem. Because I guess maybe I should ask, what are the buildings working together? Are they communicating together? Or are they all on different feet? I mean, because there should be, and I was going to ask you, the elementary is one group, middle school is one group, high school, right? And middle school, and you all have heard me say it before, that all the elementary should be doing basically the same thing. So that if a student goes from McCall to Oakdale, I'm just using it for example, they should not be behind because McCall is doing something different than Oakdale. Oakdale's doing something different than Washington Elementary. And so I've always had a concern about that. And so is that what the teachers are talking about?
No, ma'am. So especially with the new curriculum we bought, we're really on pace. Like
Everybody is
I mean,
doing the
they're in the same. I can't say they're on the same page. You know what I
Right,
mean?
no.
But they're
they
pretty
shouldn't
close. They're all at the 20-yard line. You know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying
the
in that
students should not be
process,
on
right? The teacher
Right.
may be a day behind me. I mean, I may have been sick yesterday, so I'm behind because I had
Fire
a sub,
drill,
right?
everyone.
So different variables play at that. But if you went from school to school, yes, that should be happening.
Okay.
And principals meet.
That's the same thing
And
with
I
the
wanted,
middle
yeah,
school.
yes, ma'am. They have a different curriculum, right? They're implementing. We're working on middle school. We know that we launched this literacy, but yes, and there is some variance though. However, I'm not dismissing that. I want to go back because I heard Miss Fabian and it's pulling at me over here. Where principals collaborate is they have a monthly principal meeting. And so they're all together from every school in the district. So all of our schools are represented. They're talking about problems of practice. They're working together. They're collaborating so that it's not just isolated or bucket where the elementary schools are here and the middle schools are here, because there needs to be articulation from elementary to middle to high school. So that articulation needs to take place.
Okay, I just want to remind everybody, we still have to go back into closed session, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
It's getting late.
Yeah.
Miss Lindsay.
Yeah, so a couple of things that I left out. I wonder how much we can preload the questions to the students and the families and if the staff, if possible. Because if they have time to say, these are the questions I'm going to be asked, they can be thoughtful and take time and really look at the broader scope and not feel on the spot, I need to give a fast answer. So if there's opportunities to give them the questions ahead of time, I think that could be beneficial. I want to recap the intent of this. This is the superintendent's goal at the board's direction. The board wants to know what the real culture and climate in this district is. We hear from this pocket of people over here. We hear this perspective over there. We are trying to understand within the district. So if you are not respectfully honest, it is hard for this board to make any sort of change or ensure that change happens. So I am really pleading with anyone remaining, if the survey needs to go back out again because only 20% of staff is, your respectful honesty is what we want. This is not an exercise just to check a box. The board specifically wants this information. And because we want it so badly, we have made it one of the superintendent's goals. So I hope more people participate because that's the intent of it, so we can get things done and help ensure that supports are in place for the superintendent and her administration to make that change happen.
Because if we're seeing all of these concerns within, and we're seeing these key themes, we want them fixed. Our buildings deserve to be safe, welcoming places for everyone. So if you're not telling us what the issues are, we can't fix it. And then back to my last comment for tonight with the principals and making sure there's collaboration across the district. With the prior board, during one of our conferences that we went to, there was the conversation around there's professional learning communities and professional learning organizations. And there was a book that I had purchased. They only had a couple of copies and spread across. But at the end of this, that may be another conversation that this current board needs to have so we can tighten that up and buckle it down so that everyone has that sense of belonging in our district. I'm done.
Thank you, and thanks for putting things in perspective. Anybody else?
I'm just going to finish with this. Thank you, Ms. Lundy. And that's why we paused today. And that's why I didn't move forward because, and those questions at Jack Benny were preloaded, but they were still not the right questions. And I'm going to acknowledge that. So I did go off script, which took a longer amount of time with those students, and the teacher had to come out to build that environment of, you have a voice and let's discuss this and you can lead this. However, that is why we paused it today, because those questions were not right. And I want to acknowledge that. So we're going to bring the kids together. We're going to draft some questions and we're going to go back out. And if it's not right again, then we're going to come back and redraft them because we want them to be right.
I had sent some research questions for surveys. Staff satisfaction survey, student satisfaction survey, and parent satisfaction survey. I sent 3 sets of researched questions to you and the previous board president. And apparently you guys didn't use them. Those questions were devised and designed to get to answers that's needed. And so I'm asking, do you recall those questions?
I absolutely recall you sending them to us, Ms. Hannah. Yes.
And maybe you could look at them.
I will look at them.
Because
I'll pull them up tomorrow.
they were short, concise.
Yep. I'll pull them up tomorrow and I'll give you a call.
Can you send them to me too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, because those were, they were done, they were diligently done, very mindfully done through research. And it was all in an educational environment.
Yep. I'll pull them tomorrow and I will send them to the board president. I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alexakis.
Thank you.
Okay. Information items, item 18A, FOIA report for December 2025.
The report of the FOIA work that was done in the month of December is available for review. You will note that there is one entry with some redactions that is confidential student information, but otherwise the nature of the request is available in the responses.
Thank you. Item 19, old business. Item 19A, approval of resolution regarding bids received for the property located at 742 Greenwood Avenue, formerly Welcome Center.
No, Ms. Fabian.
I thought, I was going to say that we still.
It is the recommendation that the Board of Education approve the resolution as read regarding the bids received on January 16, 2026 for the property located at 742 Greenwood Avenue, formerly Welcome Center.
Okay. Whereas the Board of Education, now known as the Board of Waukegan Community Unit School District 60, Lake County, Illinois, further known as school district, authorized the sale by sealed bids with no minimum purchase price of certain real estate consisting of an 11,986 square foot office building situated on a 26,295 square foot parcel of land with the address of 742 West Greenwood Avenue, Waukegan, Illinois, and identified with the Lake County Permanent Index numbers 08-09-321-027 and 08-09-325-025, herein known as real estate. And whereas on January 16, 2026, 2 sealed bids were received for the property, the first from the Boys and Girls Club of Lake County in the amount of $350,000, the second from Humberto Millan on behalf of the owners of Tute's Bakery in the amount of $410,000. And whereas the board has determined that neither bid is acceptable, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of Waukegan Community School District 60, Lake County, Illinois, as follows. Section 1, the board hereby rejects both bids. Section 2, pursuant to the provisions of Section 522 of the School Code, the board hereby directs the administration to engage the services of a licensed real estate broker to sell the property for a commission not to exceed 7%, contingent of the sale of the property within 120 days. Section 3, that the board president and board secretary, superintendent, and attorneys for the school district are hereby authorized to sign such documents and to take such action as may be necessary. In Section 5, that this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after this adoption, adopted this 27th day of January 2026 by the affirmative vote on at least 2/3 of the members of the Board of Education as follows.
You make that a motion?
Before I make that a motion, I think we need to update Section 5 to Section 4, because it goes Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 5 currently. Is there a Section 4 I'm missing?
I believe that's just a typographical error.
And that's fine, but I just want to make sure.
We need to make sure so that we're clear on this. Ms. Fabian, are you making that as a motion?
Yes.
So moved by Ms. Fabian. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Ramirez. Any discussion on this motion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah?
Yes.
Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez? Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries. Item 20, new business, I see none. 21, student discipline matters, nothing there.
Wait, you know what, Mr. Irvin?
Yes, ma'am.
This is old business.
Oh, do we have any?
Because I was gonna do it under board member time, but, maybe can we
Yes, we can.
go back
Number
to
19, old business.
old business?
Okay.
Okay, I would like to get some updates on some things. First off, it's been a long time since we have heard anything regarding our special education department.
Yep.
And so, if we could get an update on, what's going on in special education in terms of, if we are, no, okay. But just an update on special education and what's going on. If we had more people coming in, more students going in, any students being, coming out, how are the outplacements going? What about Menta? All of those things. It's
Staffing.
time. Pardon? Staffing. Thank you. All of those things to give us an update on what's going on with special education. And also, second thing is, can we also get an update on what's going on with the Black Boy Initiative and where we are with that? And are there any improvements? what, just what's going on.
How the RFP connections.
Yeah, and we heard earlier a community member asked about BAM and WOW, and I too, hopefully with the consensus of the board, is looking to get an update on BAM and WOW as well.
Can I elaborate on that?
Yes.
So with the BAM and WOW update, thank you, Ms. Briscoe, for highlighting that. In terms of that, I'd like some reporting regarding staffing, consistency of meetings. I'll go slower.
Go ahead, I'm
We
listening.
send that as
Student
an-
enrollment / engagement.
Can we send that as an email, those?
Yeah, for sure. But I just want the public to be
Yeah,
aware of
yeah,
what we're
yeah,
asking
yeah.
for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and right, and oh,
Can I, meanwhile, you're looking at your notes, so I just want to make sure I got everything, but I'm saying staffing, consistency of meetings, and what was the third one you said?
Enrollment.
Enrollment, okay.
yeah, and if we are seeing student improvement, okay,
Yeah.
that's it right.
Thank you, Santa. Any other new, old business? Old business. Any new business? Okay, then let's move on to board member time. Miss Allen, we'll start with you.
I just want to say thank you all for all the encouragement and also the opportunity to have this leadership role. Like it really has helped me grow and develop skills that I hope to use, throughout my whole life into my college career. And also I want to say Happy New Year's to everyone. I know we're a little late in the month, but Happy New Year's, everyone. And thank you and stay warm.
Okay, Mr. Jacobo.
I just want to say thank you too. Thanks to the president of the board and all the board members for having me here. I just want to say that to the students, you got to start off strong this year and end it strong too. So I wish you luck at everything coming up. Besides that, stay warm and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Ms. Ramirez.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. I can't believe we are almost done with January. It is traveling absolutely fast. To all the students right now that are access testing, good luck and put your best foot forward. Para los padres que no saben, en estas semanas están sus hijos tomando los exámenes de access. Es importante que estén en la escuela, tomar todas las porciones de access. Para que puedan terminar el proceso de tener que tomar ese examen. With that, thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. Riddle.
Yes. Thank you all for staying with us tonight in this discussion. I read something recently that that was encouraging to me with all of the bad news that we see and things that are terribly happening in our community. So much so in our nation too that we almost don't recognize this anymore as our country, and it gets depressing. But the message that I heard was, we can't solve everything, but we can look for the light. So there's some heavy news out there, things happening, but each person can look through their day for something light, or they can be the light to help others. And to change our community in tiny ways. And those can make a big difference in someone's life. So I guess that's the good news, is that each one of us has the ability to positively influence another person, helping them in some way. And if enough of us do that, we will change the world in a positive way. So it's a good message. So anyway, stay warm, enjoy. Spring is on its way. It's only like 50 some days away, so think positive. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Riddle. Ms. Hannah?
I just want to say thank you for all of the recognition that we had tonight. It's pleasure to hear good stuff. And Mr. Campos, he really deserved it. And also that but no, just everybody stay warm. It's cold outside. When we came here, it was decent, but I know the temperature is supposed to drop. By the time we get out of here, it's going to be dropping. So just stay warm, be careful out there.
Thank you, Miss Hannah. Miss Lindsay?
Yeah, we've had some brutally cold days. So hopefully just keep an eye on your neighbor. I think Waukegan, the reason I love this community is because we find ways to support each other and we have great pride in this community. So I just hope we continue to keep that up despite what's happening on a national level. I also am curious as to if we can get an update on our Sodexo or the food services as well. I should have brought it up during old business, but I had it for my board member comments. But if we can, and I'll send an email for more specifics and I'll share with you some concerns. But on a positive note, we have senior night for our girls basketball team. So if you can, community, come out to the Dog Pound, which is at Washington campus tomorrow at 7 p.m. to cheer on the Lady Bulldogs. They are an excellent team and they deserve a lot of support. And then we also have our boys playing Friday at the Dog Pound. So 2 home games in 1 week. Come on out, show them the support that they need. And hopefully we can get another really great season.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. Ms. Fabian?
Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say. There's an open school board meeting every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, unless otherwise noted. Agendas go up on Fridays, which will let you know if it's a micro, macro. However, every second is a micro meeting with committee meetings, and community participation is encouraged at community meetings, as that's your opportunity to hear what's going to come up for vote and ask questions and get answers right then and there. Our fourth Tuesdays is our regular board meeting, and the full calendar is posted on our website. And I agree with you, Ms. Briscoe, we do need to see, or we would love to see more families attending and participating. There is translation available in Spanish for those who need them. Si hay traducción en español cada vez que ustedes vienen aquí mismo. So, estamos invitando a la comunidad, vengan a apoyar nuestras reuniones cada segundo y cuarto martes del mes. I also want to thank you, send a big thank you to Waukegan Township for the Drum Major Award during the Martin Luther King Jr. brunch. It is a huge honor to be recognized among such esteemed community members that I admire so much. And it means a lot given the theme of this year, which was strength and solidarity. Because I really feel that this is what we need to embody more than ever. 2 weeks ago, I made a few remarks regarding the shooting by our federal government, and today, unfortunately, we are met with the same news that another citizen has been shot and what I will say murdered during a peaceful protest. So this is not about immigration enforcement or securing our borders. It's not an issue on the number of deportations. And I want to be clear that I am not against enforcing our laws and legal deportations. The issue here is about the illegal deportations, entering homes without warrants, pulling people over without cause, the abuse of power, the lack of due process, which is granted to everyone, regardless of citizenship status, and the overall violence. And so watching all of this playing out, I am confused, I'm angry, and I'm heartbroken. I feel helpless and anxious. This is why I wrote it out, because I knew I would get emotional. But I say this to you all to say, if I as an adult am having all these strong feelings and emotions, so too must our kids, our staff, and our families. And so as much as we want to try to shield our children from the news, they're not going to be able to avoid it. It's all over TV. It's all over social media. So I want to remind everyone, once again, to be mindful of our students and our staff's emotional distress and our families' financial struggles. Please check on your neighbors, spread kindness, share resources, and reach out when you feel the need. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And to Mr. Riddle's point of looking for the light, I saw something that really hit home for me where it says, look for the light. But when you can't find it, it's usually because you are the light. Everybody's coming to you with their burdens. So it's very important, again, to reach out when you need that support so you can support others. On the same note of staying warm, there are several warming centers throughout Waukegan. Thank you to our city also for sending our police officers out to also make sure that those facilities are also safe, and that people are finding their way there. But again, reach out, make sure that you're helping one another. And if you find yourself struggling with homelessness and are looking for warm shelter, also make sure to reach out to our McKinney-Vento department so they can assist you with some services as well. And again, congratulations to Ms. Myers and Mr. Campos. Mr. Campos is a shining example of when we bring people in from other countries, the great work that they can do from one Central American to another. I love seeing how much he's grown and the work that he's doing. And again, just kindness, kindness, kindness more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fabian. Okay, Mr. Saden, thank you for being here with us. Appreciate you following us and, giving us the exposure that you do and the good press. Alderman Florian, good to see you. Thank you for being here. This brings back memories of planning and zoning. Well, thank you. Good to see you here. And Ms. Briscoe, thank you for being here. Thank you for your words, and it's good to hear what you have to say, and we look forward to seeing you here on a regular basis. I know you don't come very often. I know it's kind of hard in this really cold weather, but you probably follow us, though, right? Good. But thank you. Really appreciate your comments, and thank you to everybody who stuck around. And with that, I would like to ask for a motion to go back into closed session. I know nobody wants to. Motion
So
by
moved.
Lensing, second. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
it
I'm
needs to
sorry,
be
I'm sorry.
refined. I thought there was more
I
to
have
that.
to give the
You have to
reasons
give
why
the
we're going
numbers,
back.
please.
Hold that motion. We are looking for motion to return to closed session for the purpose of discussing items that fall into the following categories that are exceptions to the Illinois Open Meetings Act. C1, specific personnel. C11, litigation. C21, closed session minutes. Motion by
Miss
Ms.
Lensing.
Second by Ms. Ramirez. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Fabian?
Yes.
Ms. Hannah? Ms. Lensing?
Yes.
Ms. Ramirez? Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
President Rodriguez?
Yes, we are now in closed session. Just want to let everybody know that we are going to adjourn right after the closed session. We'll go back into open session for a few seconds and adjourn from the board.
Got 9:20 already.
I know, right?